everyone, welcome back to CBSE Plus 2 English class. Hope you all are doing well. Today we're gonna discuss a poem from Flamingo, an elementary school classroom in a slum, written by Stephen Spender. Are you all ready to listen to the poem? If you are ready, let's begin. About the poet, Stephen Spender was a poet and English essayist. Spender had keen interest in politics and so he declared himself as socialist and pacifist. His work concentrated on themes of social injustice and the class struggle. Introduction to the lesson. Listen. The poem is written by Stephen Spender, describes the social inequalities which are prevailing in the society. In the poem, he describes the condition of the students of an elementary school which is situated in a slum area. The poet wants to draw attention of everyone towards these kids so that their life can be improved and they may get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. Here is the poem. Let's go through the poem. An elementary school classroom in a slum, written by Stephen Spender. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunned, unlucky hair of twisted bonds, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. So, my dear children, before going to the explanation, you just underline the difficult words in this stanza. Okay, gusty waves means breezy winds. Pallor means pale or dull face. Stunt, not fully grown due to malnutrition. Gnarled means rough. Weeds, you people know, unwanted plants. Paper seeming boy means very thin boy, as thin as a sheet of paper. Hair, H-E-I-R, hair means successor. Okay. Now, here is the explanation of this stanza. First stanza, listen. The poet describes the children who study in an elementary school which is set up in a slum area. Okay, so where is the school? Which is set up in a slum area. The poet says that the faces of children are dull and without any energy. So, the children in the slum area, their faces are dull and without any energy. We can see like that. They are not full of energy like other kids of their age. These children are compared to unwanted wheat. Here, the writer wants to say that these children seem to be unwanted like the unwanted weeds which grow on their own in the fields. So, among other children, these slum children are like unwanted plants. You know that. Unwanted plants means we don't want that plant. Same like that only this children's situation also. Okay, they are considered like unwanted plants or unwanted weeds among other children. Okay, because they are poor children, that too they live in slum area. Their hair is not neatly done. Okay, so their hair is torn round their pallor means their hair is not neatly done. It falls on their pale faces as if they have been torn apart. The children are untidy, they haven't combed their hair. Then he describes a tall girl. After that the poet describes. First he says that the children are untidy, they haven't combed their hair. Then after that the poet describes a tall girl who seems to be burdened by poverty. Her head is bent, maybe because of tiredness or shame. There is another boy who is so weak and thin that he has been compared to a sheet of paper. The boy's eyes reflected greed and he wants to achieve everything. Here rat's eye, he just says that it's like rat's eye. We people know the speciality of rat's eye. Every time it just seeks for food. Okay, so here this boy's eyes is compared to rat's eyes. Okay, then he describes another student who is physically disabled. First he describes about a girl, tall girl. Okay, after that a boy. Then again he describes about another student who is physically disabled. The poet says that this boy is unlucky because he inherited a disease from his father, due to which he has a deformed body. See, instead of getting any facility from his father, we people all know that we all get many facilities from our parents. Okay, but here instead of getting any facility from his father, he has received a disease in heritage. This disabled body is sitting on his bench and is reciting his lesson. At the back of the class, in dim, dark area, was a small boy who was not visible to the poet as he was sitting in darkness. The poet could see his eyes, which were bright and full of glee. He was not paying attention to the class. It seemed as if he was rather interested in playing with squirrels in the tree house. He could see a tree house outside, and there a squirrel plays. Okay, it was just playing outside. Okay, so this boy was not at all interested in classes. Okay, and he is just looking outside to see, and he's just observing the squirrel in the tree house. Okay, this is the meaning of the first stanza. Next stanza. On so cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head. Cloudless at dawn, civilized dawn. Riding all cities, belt, flurry, tireless, valley, open-handed map. Awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, these windows, not this map, were a world, where all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. So, just listen, children, here is the explanation. The poet describes the walls of the school. Okay, now before in the first stanza we came to know about some students, okay, how they look like, their appearance, their problems and all, we just came to know. Now the poet describes the walls of the school, okay, how it looks. You people know that you all are really blessed to have such a big school, and but how this slum school looks like, you just listen here. The poet describes the walls of the school. They are cream in color, like the color of sour cream. Okay, so the walls are like sour cream. Okay, cream in color, you know that. Okay, because it is really dirty. Okay, that's why its color is sour cream. This means that the walls are not clean, they have not been painted recently. The walls are covered with different charts and images that must have been donated by different people. There is a picture of Shakespeare on the wall. Okay, so the walls were not painted recently, and not only that, it was really dirty. Okay, and there is a picture of Shakespeare on the wall. We could see a picture of Shakespeare on the wall. His head, which is bald, looks like the rising sun at the horizon. At the time of daybreak, the sun is rising at the horizon and is semicircular like a dome shape. It seems to be behind all the cities. There is a picture of the famous Tireless Valley. Okay, it's a beautiful valley which has beautiful flowers. There is the image of a map which helps all in its own way. But for these children, the map of the world is irrelevant because the slum where they live is different from what is shown in the map. Different beautiful places are there in the map, okay, but that map is entirely different from their present situation, okay. Their world is only what they see out of the window of the classroom, the slum, okay. Means they don't know, they are not familiar with the outside world. What they could see through the window of their classroom, that is the slum only, okay. If they just look through the window, they can see their slum outside, okay. So that is their world. Their future is full of darkness. Their future is compared to a narrow street, which means that there is no wide scope available for their future growth. We people know the situation of these slum children, okay, how their future will be. It's really full of darkness. These children are far away from the radiant light of knowledge and education because they don't have that much facilities, okay, to get educated. With that limitation, within the limitation, they just study, and whatever it's possible only they can gain, okay. So these children are far away from the radiant light of knowledge and education. Here comes the third stanza. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. For lives that slyly turn in their crammed holes from fog to endless night. On their slag heap these children wear skins peeped through by bonds and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as Dove. So my dear children, listen here. Here is the meaning for some words. Wicked means, you people know that is common word only, evil. Tempted means persuade. Slyly means trickily. Cramped means confined. Slag, weak. Mended means repaired. Blot, to mark with a spot. Doom means disaster. Now listen to the explanation. The poet further says that these children living in the slum area have faced so many hardships that they feel every other person to be their enemy. For them, Shakespeare is an evil man. See a picture of Shakespeare which hung on the wall, okay, but they don't know about Shakespeare. Their area or their surrounding only they know that, okay, that is the slum. For them, Shakespeare is an evil man. They don't find the map to be a good thing because they don't know about him. That's why they don't find the map to be a good thing. They were never liked or loved by anyone. We know their situation, okay, their life and all. These slum children were never liked or loved by anyone. Therefore, they hate almost everyone. They did not receive any love, okay. They are not getting love or consideration. Therefore, they hate almost everyone, okay. So that only they also give back. Their desire of being loved by others forces them to steal. They live in small homes and they have started adjusting to it. Their life is going towards an endless night. This means that their future is full of darkness. These kids are so thin that one can easily see their bones through the thin layer of skin. We people know that due to hunger, they are very slim. Their skin is like the thin layer of cloth, and the bones beneath are visible through the skin. These kids suffer from malnutrition. We people know that they don't have proper food, so they suffer from malnutrition. They wear spectacles which are made of steel. They are cheap and very uncomfortable. Even the lenses in the spectacles are repaired. The spectacles look like stones which have been repaired with pieces of glass sticking out of them. Here, the poet tries to explain that these kids have to face so many hardships in their lives. As these slums are getting bigger, they will destroy the future of these children, and it is very difficult for such kids to escape from them. So children, we know the life of slum children, okay. We all are really blessed because we all have all the facilities in our life, not like them. If you have anything like spectacles or whatever it is, just get repaired, you will buy a new one, okay. But this children's situation is not like that. They just suffer a lot, understood. So what the poet says, these slums are getting bigger, they will destroy the future of these children, and it is very difficult for such kids to escape them, okay. So this is the explanation of this stanza. Now listen to the last stanza. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break up until they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tanks run naked into books, the white and green leaves open, history theirs, whose language is the sun. So, my dear children, listen here what the poet says here. The poet says that the government should take notice of the problems being faced by these kids. We know that, okay? Here, poet call for help from the government. The poet says that the government should take notice of the problems being faced by these kids. He urges them to change the life of these kids and make the world map a reality for them. I told you the world map is not familiar to them because they just look through the window and what they see their slum only. So only they are familiar with the slum. So what the poet says here, he urges the government to change the life of these kids and make the world map a reality for them. Okay. There is a need to break the restrictions which are put on them due to poverty and lack of resources. Okay, we people know that some restrictions are on them. Okay, so which should be as the poet asked that it should be broken. Okay, then only what will happen means we know that based on poverty and lack of resources only, these we just put some restrictions on them. So there is a need to break these restrictions. Okay, that's what poet says. He wants the governor and public to help these kids in achieving their dreams. Okay, so this is the government's duty, or not only that, the public people also should interfere in their matter to help these kids in achieving their dreams, as this will take them away from fog to azure sky. Okay, because now they just live in a foggy area, means that which is really covered with something, understood? Okay, they are not living in a pleasant atmosphere. Okay, so if the governor and the public will help them, sure they can also reach the sky, means they will get all the facilities in their life. The poet here wants to say that in this way the kids can be taken away from the darkness of their present to a bright future. So if government interfere in this and the public also join, sure what will happen? These kids can be taken away from the darkness of their present to a bright future. He wants these kids, the poet wants these kids to experience the science and the beauty of nature, as this will lead to a desire of gaining knowledge. Even these people, slum people, also should experience everything, the beauty of nature. Okay, so it is our responsibility to provide all these. They will then go through the white and green leaves. Okay, means the world should be open in front of them. Then they should experience the science and the beauty of nature, and not only that, they should experience white and green leaves everywhere, means everywhere they should be allowed, okay, to go. Here white leaves depict books and green leaves depict nature. Okay, so here two things, white leaves means it's book only, you know that the pages of books, white leaves, and the green leaves means nature. So these children must experience the white leaves, which are books, and then green leaves, that is nature. So both these slum children should experience. This will then result in their progress, and they will be able to paint a bright future for themselves. So here ends our poem. Listen, my dear children, I'll just give you a brief summary of the poem. Okay. This poem by Stephen Spender gives a vivid description of a school classroom in a slum and the children in the class. The faces of the children are dull. Their appearance shows that they are unwanted. The children have gloomy faces. Their heads hanging low in sadness due to being poor. They have diseased bodies inherited from their parents and are victims of poverty. At the dim end of the room sits one child who has bright eyes which seem to dream of playing outside with squirrels. He is different from the others in the dim, dark room. The walls of the classroom are dirty. People have donated different charts and images which have been put up on them. One of them is a picture of the great playwright Shakespeare. His head is bald and resembles the rising sun. The next poster of the Tyrolese Valley, full of churches and flowers, which symbolizes the beautiful creations of nature. Another one is a map of the world. To these children, the world is not the one shown in this picture, but it is the one they see out of the classroom window. They are trapped in the slums. Their future is dim and hopeless. They have a dark future as their options in life are limited and are covered with dismay. They are far away from the bright light of knowledge. Comprehending these pictures is beyond their abilities. They hate everyone, and for them, Shakespeare is a wicked man. As no one loves them, they dislike everyone. Their desire for love and acceptance forces them to do crimes like stealing. The children are so skinny that their clothes are like a skin and their skeleton is visible through them. This is due to lack of nutrition. They have worn looking glasses made of steel, which are cheap, heavy, and uncomfortable. Their chances of fulfilling their dreams and moving out have been further reduced by building bigger slums. Until they come out of the slums, they will never know what the worlds look like. The government system which makes these slums is the cause for these people to live in them. The education system is such that it forces them to live in these slums. They are not given the right to dream beyond these slums. They have been restricted to the slums. The poet requests the authorities to allow these children to go out of these slums so that the maps on the walls of the classroom become a reality for them. They should be taken to the green fields rather than the dim slums. The sunny, warm sand of the beach and the bright blue sky will instill a hunger of knowledge in their minds. Then they will absorb all of it. Then these children will become economically empowered. The poem ends with a powerful line: those who make history are the ones who shine like the sun. Now, my dear children, let's have a look of the literary devices or the poetic devices in the first stanza. See here, children are compared with rootless weed. Rootless weed. Okay, children are compared with rootless weed. So here the poetic device is simile. Underline the line and then write the poetic device simile. Why it is? Because the children are compared with rootless weed. And next one, listen. Boy is compared with paper as he is thin. Okay, paper seeming boy. That word you underline, and the poetic device is metaphor. Okay, paper seeming boy. The boy is compared with paper as he is thin. So the poetic device has been used here as metaphor. Okay. Next, use of for to stress on the distance. That is repetition. Okay, use of for to stress on the distance. Poetic device is repetition. Okay, so all these lines you must underline. Now next stanza, listen. Sour cream walls. The poetic device has been used here as metaphor. Sour cream walls. Why? Because walls are described to be dull as sour cream. Okay, walls are described to be dull as sour cream. So the poetic device is metaphor. Sour cream walls. Underline this word and then write the poetic device metaphor. Next one, narrow street sealed with a lead sky. Narrow street sealed with a lead sky. The future of the kid is described as limited. Okay. So listen. Assonance, repetition of vowel sound. Okay, repetition of vowel sound E. Now, listen the next stanza. Poetic device, okay? See, cramped holes. Cramped holes. Poetic device is metaphor. Their homes are very small like holes. Okay, cramped holes means their homes are very small like holes. This is compared like small holes. So, the poetic device is metaphor. Next one, listen. Like bottle bits on stones. Like bottle bits on stones. Here, the poetic device is simile. Okay, poetic device is simile. Next one. From frog, from fog. See the first two alphabet, it repeats. So, you people know that the poetic device is alliteration. Alliteration, F sound, from, that is F, fog, F. The first sound repeats. Okay, that is known as alliteration. Okay. Now, last stanza, just listen, last stanza. The white green leaves open. The white green leaves open. The poetic device is metaphor. What is it? Metaphor. Books and nature are expressed in form of white and green leaves. Okay, so the poetic device is metaphor. So, my dear children, these are the literary devices or poetic devices have been used in this poem, An Elementary School Classroom in Islam. My dear children, here ends the poem, An Elementary School Classroom in Islam, written by Stephen Spender. Hope you all have understood the poem well. I'll meet you soon with another poem. Thank you for being with me.